If I had a Warren Station Hall of Fame, trust me, you'd be in it.
I had always joked, even from like age 15, that one day I would own the place.
Life is all about timing. I think the time was right for my family.
For me too, in my career.
To me, I don't think we could have sold it to a better family. The one thing that the public needs to understand is that...
What are you hoping to see when the station opens? I'm Caroline. I am the chef owner of the station in Fenwick Island.
My name is Scott Mumford, and my family and I used to own Warren Station in Fenwick Island, Delaware.
Scott, can you talk to me about how Warren Station came to be?
Well, it was built in 1960 by a gentleman by the name of Warren Johnson. And Warren Johnson vacationed in Fenwick, and there was really nowhere to eat. So he decided, being a farmer that he was, he built a restaurant. And he wanted it to be a family-style restaurant. He basically brought his farm to Fenwick. Over the years, he was there. He built it in 1960, and my father had been working there since he was 14. He started in about 1964. My mother and father just recently graduated from college. They were living up north, and at the time, he called him his best employee. They were out or whatever. The phone was ringing when they came in, and it was Mr. Johnson. Hey, do you want to buy the restaurant? They immediately said yes without even thinking. And it was the first summer when they opened at Memorial Day weekend, and it was their first summer in 1971. And it was the Tuesday after Memorial Day, and I think they brought in like $30. And they were like, man, did we? What have we done? What have we done?
When you started to like take it over for your dad, how old do you think you were?
I was like a junior and senior in college, 94. Like 95 was when I graduated college. And 95 was when, they sat me down. They were like, if you're going to be a part of this, we want you to start doing a lot more of the, and taking a load off my dad's plate, My dad was, still, he was there, but he also...
He'll still be there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll still be there, but he had good, like myself over the years, and my wife over the years. My mom and dad had good people around them, so dad would be able to like kind of be like, okay, you are kind of like my breakfast guy. You're my prep guy, and he wouldn't have to do it all. In a sense, he could just oversee and be the owner. But 94, 95 was when I started doing, and then my wife and I got married in 03, but she came in 2001 when we were dating, and she was, for years, had worked at, had been in the restaurant industry, started at like Oceanside, but she was at Phillips for years. So,
another institution.
Yeah, north end of Phillips. So yeah, been doing that for a long time. So
yeah.
it's in our blood.
An amazing cook.
She is. She really is. She's, again, her fingerprints are on so many things at the restaurant. Yeah.
She would take these like little side caterings as I was working there, and I think it was like a memorial or something, and she let me go with her. It was just food that wasn't on the Warrens menu. It was all her food, and it was just stunning and beautiful. Hoping to bring some of that alive through the pantry with the grab and go stuff, and hopefully catering down the road once we get.
She's really, really good at attention to details, and in any kind of food industry, details matter.
Yeah,
she was really good at that.
Really good. Can you tell us one of your favorite memories?
All through the years, I've been there my whole life. I think the best memories, reflecting back, is just the amount of people, not just the patrons, but the staff as well, just the relationships you develop. Those things are lifelong. We've had some amazing people come in and out of that building, as patrons and as staff, but that is probably the one thing I'm going to miss the most, is really engaging with all those people all the time, because it kept me going. It kept my mom and dad and my wife going too. It was just, we had such good people around us. So
that's been one really amazing thing, interviewing all of the past employees now that want to continue to join at the station. Every single interview has included that their most favorite thing about Warren's was the team environment and all the people that worked there. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to continuing and bringing on. 20 plus staff members that you had, which has been a really, really great thing.
And that warms my heart, because they're good people. We've all for years. Going back to my parents' days. When they were running it, they always had just good people around them, and that's what, not only does that help you in running a business, but it just helps the business grow as well.
Well, that's what I'm looking for, because it is just me, and it's a big restaurant, as you know, and building a team of people that just really have my back. And through your previous employees, I can already feel that sense of, from bringing me back to when I worked there, which was, I met some of my best friends, people that are going to be in my wedding working there, and creating that culture already through your employees is like the perfect foundation, which has been really cool so far.
Yeah, they're just good people.
Yeah, it's been fun. What do you love most about the people that you have served over the years?
That's
It's an institution. It always has been. It really is a staple in the community.
I guess just doing things, we're not perfect, but just doing things in a good and I would hope a right way. Trying to teach, a good work ethic to, your workers, because most of the workers are young.
Mm-hmm.
We try to instill accountability, responsibility, and I think one thing that gets really forgotten is good communication. Like being able to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You want kids to be able to do that, and young adults for that matter. Just establish good communication, because that's important. You want to be able to talk to people, and you engage with people, you learn from people, you learn what's working, what's not working, and the interaction with people. Yeah, that's very important.
I was trained up at Warren Station for the industry, for sure. It's funny, we talk about, the question in any interview we've done is, what are some of your memories? And I think that I wish that we had like some particular memory of the two of us interacting, but there's really not anything that comes to mind. There's a story that I probably can't really share. Me and my friends like stole a pie one night, and we're all like biking, we're like speeding down Bunting Ave, and with this lemon meringue pie, we basically had a mental breakdown and felt so guilty. So her dad like drove back the pie and returned it to Scott, and Scott I think pretended to act mad for like 5 seconds, and then ultimately I think he even ended up giving us the pie. But
I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, so hysterical.
I couldn't be bad. You kids were fun. When a kid screws up, and we have good eggs, but when a kid would screw up, I know when I screwed up, my biggest thing was if my mom or dad was disappointed. Yeah. And if I just kind of threw that little disappointment, maybe little dart of like, now you know better, and I would never come out and be, but I'm not a yeller or a screamer or anything like that. I'd be like, yeah, just don't do that again. They're kids. They screw up. Good Lord, I'm the biggest kid there is. I still screw up.
So I worked there 8 years, and I went to Worcester Prep, so I had a completely different. Yes, we both went. No, you didn't go to UD, but your dad did, right?
Mom and dad both went to UD, yeah.
So I had a completely different friend group, and so when I started working at the restaurant, it was mostly kids that went to Indian River. So I introduced myself to so many different people, and like I mentioned, a lot of these people that I worked with are still my best friends now. And just the culture that they created, we were busy. You didn't know what a busy restaurant was until you worked at Warren's, because you didn't have food runners. You were running all your own food. At a young age, you were, making drinks, making desserts, making salads. It was just the ultimate kitchen experience at such a young age.
And if I may hit on that was something my mother was very much involved with when they started running it. My mom ran the front of the house, and my dad was in the back, and that's how Elise and I did it for over years. But my mother, in saying that, my mother wanted to make sure that the servers understood. It's like, your job is to take care of that customer. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you're hitting on. It's like, you did what needed to be done to take care of them. Mm-hmm. So that was something my mother instilled in the business.
Sunday bleach nights, mm-hmm. That was, we were bleaching down the restaurant. I think like the staples that a lot of restaurants, now, have gotten away from, that was like the true foundation of my beginning of my journey in the hospitality industry, was these core values that you and your wife and your parents instilled in us. There was side work, cleaning projects. It was to a T what your responsibility was. As a 14, 15-year-old young adult working, the expectation was clear from day one with all of the employees. And I think that anybody that's worked at Warren's, which there's a lot of people in the community, a lot of really great people in the community have worked there. And I think that everyone kind of shares that core value that they learned from working there. And I seriously believe that.
Yeah, my father said it, years ago. He's like, the one thing that he would get from former employees would be like, I learned a lot mm-hmm. from just the core of
I think it set me apart when I went to study hospitality at UD. I think that I was on a different level than people in my class because I had that real, true industry experience from a young age. And same when I went to culinary school. I had enough experience working at Warren's. You know, I wasn't cooking on a line, but I was making salads. I was around food and preparation enough to really kind of pave my way and set me apart from my classmates. So thank you and your family for that experience.
Well, I mean, look, we loved it. I mean, we really enjoyed it. I mean, it was hard work, but over the years, that hard work was in a, you know, March through October, and then you made it. You know, the business ran from May to September. But I personally liked the let's go, and running the family business. You know, in a 20-week window essentially. And we made it work. And then you were able to kind of reap the benefits of a little time down. And that's something over the years that's worked for us.
I just remembered you had to wait to get asked back for the next year. So there was always this little like, you know, am I going to get asked back? And you would wait for the letter in the mail that would come around March and you would be formally invited back to the staff. And I don't know why, but I was always like a little nervous. Like, am I going to get asked back?
No,
and
if anyone was going to get asked back, it's going to be you. I mean, if I had a Warren Station Hall of Fame, trust me, you'd be in it.
There's a lot of people that will continue to work at the station that would be a part of that Hall of Fame.
I agree.
It's been fun.
I agree.
So ultimately, why do you think you guys came to the decision to sell?
Well, I think it's something that we would subtly be talking about, looking at the future. Elise and I were still, for years, we've been doing the day-to-day. My father was still involved, like he was the bookkeeper. Like he was the guy that still wanted to take a look at the books. And I was all for that because that still gave me the opportunity to just never be in the office, which I couldn't stand. I was in the kitchen. Operating, running the business. And Elise, same way. Paperwork was not my favorite. Scheduling, all that nonsense, I was not a fan. I would much rather be in the kitchen. But ultimately, we knew that time was not too far away because, I mean, I'm in my 50s and we kept talking about a window. We're probably about 5 years out before we need to consider doing something. We didn't know what that was. Whether it was putting a for sale sign on there or looking for management to run it or something. We were having small conversations, but it was never really like, we got to do it. We got like, no, I'm fine.
It sounds like my dad was having some small conversations.
Yeah, I mean, subtly we would say, we would be like, well, it's one of those things where you just never know. And I know my family had always said, if we were to sell it to somebody, we want to make sure it's not a group, a corporation. It would need to be another family. So, so when we were approached, I mean, by, you and your family, obviously the conversations were a little bit more engaging and deeper. And it was like one of those things where, well, life is all about timing in some cases. And when it's all said and done, I think the time was right for my family.
For me too, in my career, I think that as far as taking the next step, you can only go so high until you go out on your own. So I think for me, it was definitely the right timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no question in my mind that the decision my family made to sell to you and your family, hands down, a great decision.
I had always joked, even from like age 15, that one day I would own the place or run the place.
Yeah.
So I was a diehard Warren Station employee. I was bummed when I had to go to college and, I couldn't just work at Warren.
Well, there's times when my wife and I joke that, we run a camp. We're essentially the camp directors and we're running a camp. And I'm okay with that because, again, biggest kid there is. I mean, I'll self-admitted, my wife will tell you, and my mother and my father will tell you that I'm the biggest kid there is. When I say the term don't grow up, I mean, I kind of mean it. You still have to have a light side to everything. But but when it came down to say, for example, at the restaurant, when it did get busy, everybody just did their job. That was what they were and did what they were supposed to do. But the biggest thing was always trying to create that environment of, I want people to enjoy coming to work. That's very important to me.
Me too.
And my father wrote me a really cool letter right after one of the first summers I had begin to do scheduling, ordering, that kind of thing. You have a knack of being the boss, but not being bossy. And I was like, okay, I took that as a compliment. And that stuck because sometimes less is more when you're trying to explain things,
Mm-hmm.
and you can be the boss, but just don't be bossy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a pretty cool compliment there.
I definitely lead similar to that for sure. I mean, I'm young, so a lot of people that I work with could be older than me. They could be around my age or close to it. And, there's always that fine line of being friendly, but also having to be in charge. And I think that through a lot of experience, I've been able to navigate that and be the boss. They know that I'm in charge, but not be bossy. And I think being fair and setting clear expectations from day one is something that I learned from you and your wife, and that I've carried with me in my career. So we're very grateful that your family wanted to sell to us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was to me. I don't think we could have sold it to a better family, without question. I know Mom, Dad, and Elise and I all feel the same way.
Thank you.
There's no question. We're extremely excited for you and your family because, yeah, it's bittersweet to be like we're no longer doing
Walking
it.
in there and seeing a couple changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, this time of year, I would be knee deep. My wife and I would be knee deep in like paperwork, menu preparation, staffing, getting things together, but it's not the case. And it's really different. Everybody wonders if I'm going to be okay. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. But yeah, it's different for sure.
What are you hoping to see when the station opens?
Your success. I just want you to be successful. I mean, and I know you will. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. When you have support of your family, you got an awesome family, and it starts there. And then secondly, you got great friends. I mean, and from what I understand, you're creating a staff that you're surrounding yourself with good people. So all I want is for you to be successful. Period. That's all there is to it.
Thank you. Thank you. What I'm hoping to see is a perfect combination of the history of the building, which is something that we talked about from day one, that we still want it to feel like a place for communities and for families. We're adding a bar, which I think is just an added benefit. I don't think it's going to be a bar. I don't want to run a bar. I don't want to own a bar. But I think that now that people can enjoy, a delicious meal and have a beer with it is just an added benefit. But I think since day one, we've talked about keeping the history alive and the community and creating a work environment for young adults that's safe and fun and, a great place to come and work. I want to keep all of that, and I am keeping all of that. As well as, yesterday or Saturday, my sister was here, and we had all the archives downstairs in the garage that we got from your family, and we're picking through the staff pictures and a lot of really cool news articles, and we plan to kind of display that, not like a museum, but it is kind of like a museum. There's so much history there, including just so many different people in the community that are now pillars in the community, some of them, and being able to showcase that through old pictures and as well as the menu, keeping alive some of the traditions, turkey dinner on the menu, and turkey salad, and fresh seafood, and a lot of just the great dishes that were always there, paying respect to that, just kind of changing the way they look a little bit, I think is what I'm hoping to see.
I just hope the one thing that the public needs to understand is that, it's not Warren Station anymore, and it's not Mumford family owned. There has been a passing of the torch, and my family obviously is doing nothing but rooting for your success. So I hope that the public will understand that. It's Warren Station was around for a long time. We had our thing, and now it's time for the Wetzelbergers to come in and starting 2025 to make it their place, make it special for them, to showcase off to the community of Fenwick Island.
Right. And I think aesthetically is probably going to be the biggest shock factor, is that it's going to look a lot different on the inside.
And I think that's great.
Yeah. But I genuinely, I said this previously, I feel like Warren's is somewhere in my family we would eat there multiple times a week, breakfast, lunch, grab carry out. I want people to feel like they can still eat there within their means 3 times a week. You can come in for breakfast one day, you can come in for lunch, you can stop in the pantry and grab something to go. And I want it to be affordable, which I think it always was, to the best of my ability. And that it's a place that people feel comfortable to come multiple times a week with their family on a date, with their group of friends. And that's something that's really important.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, Warren Station, because Warren Johnson back in the day was a turkey farmer, he was a poultry farmer. I mean, we got, you know, a couple great pictures of him cooking his birds. Um, the beauty of that, it's like, you know, everybody loves turkey. I mean, but and one holiday in particular that we all celebrate that is like Thanksgiving. So we would obviously be pushing. It's like, you know, it's Thanksgiving every day.
Right.
You know.
Well, and I'm excited that we'll be open more of the season. We'll be open more year round.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I think that, you know, those comfort meals like the turkey, that'll just be, you know, even more popular as the colder months come around.
better believe
And, you know, plan on serving the community for Thanksgiving and being able to pick up their turkey dinners before. And I think that, again, that off season is going to be really cool.
Well, it's funny because whenever it was cold, like in May, like if it was still cool out, and even in September, if it would get cool, all night long, that's all we saw was turkey dinners. You know, I mean, it's our specialty of the house, no question.
It's definitely the top Facebook comment. Like, I hope they keep the turkey dinner.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's probably the comfort food. You know, a Thanksgiving style of dinner. So that's what we try to put on a plate every time.
We haven't decided on the menu if we're going to have like a special section that's going to be like Warren's favorites, or just like denote them with the nautical flag of what's like the favorites. But you know, the Station Club will be on there. That was big for my sister, which is kind of hysterical that it was called the Station Club on the original menu, and now we named the restaurant the Station. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. No, home run there. You know, this first year, obviously, with all the changes and it not being Warren Station, hang in there because you just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be fine.
I'm hoping that people take the time to get to know me, you know, as best as they can.
They'll love you. I mean,
they'll be seeing familiar faces, which will help with the staff. And
over time, they won't even. I mean, Warren's will be an afterthought. You know what I mean? But
I don't think so.
Well, you know what I mean. It's going to be your place, your restaurant, and you're going to make it a special place. And you tell me when, I will defend you to the day I die.
Thank
you. Know, if anyone says anything negative, and I feel like that's what I feel like some people like to do. But no, I just hope that those are small and minor. It's not Warren's anymore. That's just the reality. That's all there is to it. It'll be your place, and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
So we're aiming with tradition we're planning our grand opening Mother's Day weekend, which I think is really cool. I think we were really deciding, going back and forth, when the right time was with construction, and it just kind of worked out that that's Mother's Day weekend. Yeah.
That's about 6-7 weeks away. Getting excited?
Yes. It's coming together. It's really, you know, people over time have said once it starts to happen, it's really going to go quick. And every day that I'm in there, there's something new, or, you know, today they were putting the tile on the bar. And so every day I walk in and there's something, you know, new and exciting to look at.
To me, operating the day-to-day aspect of the business was the easy part. Put me in the kitchen. That's the easy part. It was like this time of year when you're just the labor aspect of it, pulling everything apart and cleaning everything and sanitizing everything, and
on top of a big construction project.
Yeah. I mean, but opening the doors and cooking and doing what you do, that was the easy part.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that moment when we open the doors and, you know, people are smiling and, you know, their jaw kind of drops when they walk in and see the changes, and they start to eat my food. I think I'm really, really looking forward to that. Well,
the one thing is that this community is pretty awesome. I mean, the ones that have been here and with the restaurant, that decades of people and the generations of people that have been coming, 99.9% of them are awesome people, and they're going to embrace the station for sure.
I hope so. But I want to just do my best to assure people that, you know, it's still family owned and operated. We want to have a great product at a great fair price, and that we still want all your kids running around. And I mean that. Just because we added a bar doesn't mean that it's not family friendly. It's a family restaurant.
And you're probably going to have to kick my father and I out just from Scott's wandering in the kitchen
He came
again.
in there the other day. He said, "I have a cable upstairs that I need for my TV." And he went right upstairs and he knew exactly where it
Oh,
was.
yeah,
And he
I mean,
walked out the door with it. I was
mean,
like, okay.
You guys are probably, like I said, look, that was the workshop. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't have to go to the hardware store a whole lot because my father had his
They haven't been.
parts.
I'm gonna have to, like, the history in the building upstairs is, it was an old workshop and
Paint section, electrical,
an old
plumbing.
safe, like really cool stuff
Yeah.
that you couldn't build a restaurant from scratch like Warren's. It's just, one, you would never be able to build a restaurant that big. So we're very lucky.
To this day, my parents were geniuses when it came to the remodel in '83. Obviously the what's the word I want? Motif, whatever the with the nautical and the replica of the life-saving station. But the sheer just big kitchen, lots of space, big pantry area.
Any chef that I've interviewed is like, whoa, this is a dream kitchen.
When all the sales reps come in, they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But the one compliment I will say that sticks is that, Scott, I would eat off of your floor, compared to some places, so the cleaning and the cleanliness was very, very important to me.
Yeah. And I do hope that people see that with our branding. I mean, we could have completely nixed, the nautical and, and we really wanted to keep that alive. I hope
That's a cool theme.
people see that.
I like it.
Yeah, it is.
It's a really
And
cool
our
theme.
pantry, I think that's going to be a really cool spot.
When people ask me, hey, how's it going or how's it looking? I say, look, they're doing some great things. But I agree. The one thing is people want kind of a grab and go, especially at the beach. But they don't want Wawa. They don't want. I don't. They want something that's going to be, prepared daily, and just they can grab it and go. And I think that concept that you're doing is going to knock.
And it was that aha moment when I came up with the name.
Pantry, yeah.
My first job was a pantry girl. That's what I was hired as. And as a pantry girl, you were kind of like a server assistant. You could be making salads, desserts, but that was what it was called. And so when I had that aha moment, like, we're going to call it the pantry.
Yeah.
And then the branding started to develop, and it's like this green and ivory that we're using, and it's kind of vintagey and
You're
really
going to
cool.
knock it out of the park. That's going to be the best. That is going to be a great and the fact that you're expanding it. Yeah, because carryout is a big part of our business.
Yep.
Since obviously COVID. But even before that, people just wanted to just enjoy their meals either at their rentals on the beach, that kind of thing. So carryout's always been a very big thing for us.
Yeah, when you finally got that promotion to carry out girl, that was a big summer. Yeah.
Well, that was one step.
Summer.
One step before you got into
Serving.
the dining room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was always a method to the madness. Was it a perfect system? No. We know that, but it was a method to the madness when it came to being at Warren Station.
Yeah,
So yeah,
for
if
sure.
you're at carryout, you're close.
Yeah. A lot of memories in those walls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Thank you for your time. We're really, really looking forward to continuing the Mumford family legacy in Fenwick Island.
Well, thank you.
Big shoes to fill.
We're proud of you, and we're rooting for you.
Thank you.
Always in your corner.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.